6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. Sri Lanka seeks up to $4 billion as IMF talks to start next week. India and China express their willingness to help Sri Lanka. The government has focused attention to slash expenses in all ministries. Special public transport services are in place for the people to return to Colombo. Compensation will be paid for the farmers for crop damages in the Yala season 2021. The Met Department issues an advisory for severe lightning in several provinces in the country tonight. In sports, Sri Lanka women to tour Pakistan in May-June. In world news, Russian warship Moskva has sunk. And those are the headlines. Finance Minister Ali Sabri says Sri Lanka needs between $3 billion to $4 billion this year to pull itself out of an unprecedented economic crisis and plans to start talks with the International Monetary Fund for help. The country is looking at making a decent case before the IMF to help preserve the economy, he said in an interview to Bloomberg Television's Yuan Mann and David Ingalls. Sabri said talks are scheduled to begin in Washington on April 18th and he expects the emergency relief funds a week later if things go well. Our appeal to them is to release it as soon as possible, Sabri said, adding that the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's government still enjoys majority in Parliament and hence the rightful authority to engage with the lender. Sabri indicated some funds the nation is seeking will come from other lenders and governments besides the IMF, but did not provide a breakdown. Sabri, along with new appointed Central Bank Governor Nandalal Veerasinghe, is a key member of the Rajapaksa's team for bailout talks with the IMF. The funds are crucial to the success of a debt restructuring process initiated by the island nation this week after suspending some outstanding loan and interest payments. Sabri also sought to reassure investors of the nation's intent to repay loans. The government has focused attention to slash expenses in all ministries. The Finance Ministry says that all relevant circulars will be issued in the coming weeks in this connection. Economic experts have stressed the need to minimize unnecessary expenses at the state institutions. Accordingly, the government will inform the public servants on the measures that will be taken to reduce costs to overcome this dire situation. Special transport services are in place for the people to return to Colombo from their respective villages. The Sri Lanka Transport Board, SLTB, said that it planned to operate an additional bus service from rural areas. The Deputy General Manager of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, Panduka Swarnahansa, said the special bus services have been planned to set for Colombo from rural places island-wide. The SLTB has already informed the regional authorities to take adequate measures in this regard. He added that there are no fuel issues for the SLTB buses and it will operate smoothly as usual. Meanwhile, the chairman of the National Transport Commission, Sashi Welgama, said interprovincial private bus services will also get ready to provide its services from tomorrow onwards. The Department of Railways also said that special trains will operate from tomorrow to provide transport facilities for the public on festive leave. Superintendent of Railways, Gamini Seniviratna, says that all long-distance and intercity trains are scheduled to operate according to the normal schedule and some trains are ready to run with extra compartments as the number of passengers will be increased due to the festive season. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Compensation will be paid for the farmers for crop damages in the Yala season 2021. Agriculture and Agrarian Insurance Board has taken steps to pay compensation to crop damages due to natural disasters. Director General of the board, Panduka Veerasinghe, says that 8,678 farmers will be paid compensation under 40,000 rupees per acre. He said that 21 million rupees have been allocated to pay compensation. The Government Information Department says Sri Lanka has received $10 million from the World Bank to purchase medicines. According to the Ministry of Health, there is a shortage of certain drugs and equipment in government hospitals, and plans have been made to manage the issue and ensure a continuous supply of medicines. And that's local news. Litro Gas said they expect to receive 8,500 metric tons of liquefied petroleum gas in the near future, with production set to recommence from April 18. The gas supplier says steps are currently being taken through the intervention of the government to secure the US dollars required for the import of gas, which has been funding under $10 million emergency funding from the World Bank. Litro said that Sri Lanka is expected to receive a stock of 8,500 metric tons of LP gas under this, and that it appreciates and anticipates to recommence the production process very soon. And that's main news. In Washlight, the Ceylon Electricity Board says the hydropower generation has increased due to rising water levels in reservoirs associated with power plants. The CEB said that the water levels in the reservoirs associated with the power plants are rapidly rising due to heavy rains in catchment areas. CEB also said hydropower generation had dropped as water levels had dropped dramatically in the recent days. However, the Ceylon Electricity Board says it expects to increase the hydropower generation to around 50% in future. And that's Washlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
No matter what anyone says, for your lease, visit the Leasing Mahagedara. People's Leasing, friendly leasing Mahagedara. More information from the nearest People's Leasing branch.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In world news headlines, first, Russian warship Moskva has sunk. Wild animals take to the streets in Rio de Janeiro. Bollywood stars Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt have tied the knot. And those are the headlines of the world news. A Russian warship that was damaged by an explosion on Wednesday has sunk, Russia's defense ministry said. Moskva, the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, was being towed to port when stormy seas caused it to sink, according to the ministry message. The 510 crew missile cruiser was a symbol of Russia's military power, leading its naval assault on Ukraine. Kyiv says it missiles the warship. Moscow has not reported any attack. It says the vessel sank after a fire. Crocodiles and other wild animals appearing in city streets and even inside houses are becoming a frequent sight in Rio de Janeiro. The environment specialists say up to 5,000 caimans are living in rivers and lagoons across the densely populated neighborhoods in the west of Brazil's famous city. Bollywood stars Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt have tied the knot in what is being dubbed one of the biggest weddings of the Indian film industry. Many stars are among close family and friends at the low-key event held at the couple's Mumbai home. Their names are trending on Twitter, and social media is brimming with good wishes for them. The actors are among the most popular faces of Bollywood, with millions of fans the world over. And that's world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
For your wheel lease, visit the Leasing Mahagedara. People's Leasing, friendly leasing Mahagedara. More information from the nearest People's Leasing branch.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by... Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Colombo International Container Terminals excelled recently at the Global Ports Forum Awards 2021 and was awarded the title of the most efficient terminal operator for the year 2021. The award recognizes an international port or terminal operator that has achieved exceptional excellence in terminal efficiency by enhancing capacity and productivity through sustainable and consistent growth. And that was Development News.
Development news was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Sri Lankan women are finally set to play their first big series apart from qualifier tournaments since the 2020 T20 World Cup in Australia, when they tour Pakistan for 3 T20s and as many ODIs in May-June this year. The Commonwealth Games qualifiers earlier this year, which they won, is the only series Sri Lanka have played since the pandemic began, after their tour of Pakistan late last year hit a stumbling block following a change in management at the PCB. And that was Sports News.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Colombo Tea Traders Association says that the shortage of fuel and electricity has resulted in the disruption of daily activities in the plantation sector. It added the transport of green leaf from the tea estates of the smallholders and plantations to the factories is virtually bordering a collapse. Manufacturers are unable to process the harvest on time due to lack of diesel for the generators. The association said it would have a serious impact on the tea smallholders, who contribute over 70% of the national production annually. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
In economic news, Sri Lankan Airlines says it has planned to increase the fleet to compete with the global market. Sri Lankan Airlines said that it has requested proposals to lease up to 21 aircraft, aiming to increase 10 aircraft by 2025. In a statement, the airline said Sri Lanka is planning for measured growth in the next 3 years through frequency increases and the addition of the new destinations, as international travel is in course of recovery from the pandemic. And that was economic news. And finally, we have the weather report. In weather report, the Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in northern, north central, eastern, central and Uva provinces during the evening or night. A few showers may occur in western and Sabarkama provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. The sea areas of the coast extending from the Kankasinture to Puttalam via Mana and from Hambantota to Badiklo via Pothuil will be fairly rough at times. The other sea areas around the island will be moderate, temporarily strong gusty winds, and very high rough seas can be expected during thunder showers. And before we wind up this news podcast, let's look at the main points once again. Sri Lanka seeks up to $4 billion as IMF talks to start next week. India and China express their willingness to help Sri Lanka. The government has focused attention to slash expenses in all ministries. Special public transport services are in place for the people to return Colombo. Compensation will be paid for the farmers for crop damages in the Yala season 2021. And with that, we conclude this morning news podcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.